All right, welcome back to the corner. Fletch and Randy bringing it to you. It's week 8, and I'm calling this week Miami Who. If you watched last night, you know what I'm talking about. It's the year of weird, and we were just talking about this off air. Year of weird, and last night was no exception. Louisville, what's that? But Jeff Brom's 4th top 5 win as a head coach. He's already tied Franklin, but yeah, as his career wise. But well, yeah, I think I texted you like, you watching this? And oh man, interception city, good for Louisville, Miami. Here we go again. But yeah, the year of weird, and then follow that up with an absolute beatdown from Minnesota on Nebraska. A little on. I thought that might be a better game, but Nebraska. I don't know if Matt Rule's like, okay, I guess I'm going to Penn State. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, sure looked like that. Yeah, that Miami game. Yeah, you were texting me. I thought I better go check in on this. And I was going back and forth against a couple of different things there, and yeah, I was looking at Carson Beck. Oh, it's the Carson Beck of old. Welcome back. But I tell you what, Louisville made some great plays on a couple of those picks. Man, there were some great plays that they made on those. So hats off to Louisville coming to Miami and knock them off. I don't think anybody's seen that coming.
Oh, absolutely. That last pick, tip ball, which happens in what a play. I thought, man, that probably touched the ground. And they showed the replay. That guy's fingertips are so strong to keep that. That was absolutely awesome play and good for them. And wow, I think the last time they said they knocked off a team like that, it was when Lamar Jackson was there. I think I saw or something. But what a huge win, and just had to be watching the 30 for 30 for the Bosworth this morning, and so a lot of Miami ties in the OU. So then Miami goes down last night. So, yeah, kind of fitting, but
there you go.
So we're here in week 8, and like I said, I'm calling it the year weird because look where we're at. We got so much more football to go, and look at all what's not near the top anymore. Starting off obviously with Penn State and Texas. Texas probably a little bit much better position than Penn State is moving forward as far as this year goes. But other teams that were thought maybe might be making moves and were not. And then Nebraska last night.
Clemson.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Clemson. I gotta forget about them.
Yeah.
They got 3 losses already, right? I think.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame comes out with 2 big losses early, but real tight games against top teams, and then they've bounced back. So they're definitely in the mix, but puts that game against USC and every game they got the rest of the way. It's a do or die basically for them, and USC. We'll get into all that. So yeah, we're trying to make these a half hour now, so we're gonna get going on the games and maybe some other talk too, like we started with. So we'll start right at the top. We'll talk about this a little bit. It's LSU at Vanderbilt. I didn't realize they were at Vanderbilt a couple days ago. I think it's going to be a really, really good game because it's at Vanderbilt. It's a noon kick. It's not Death Valley. It's not crazy night atmosphere. I'm just going to go. I'm going to take Vanderbilt mainly because it's the year of the weird, and I just expect craziness to happen.
Yeah, it's actually that's how it's become. You just never know what's going to happen from week to week. And of course, Vandy being at home is a big advantage. Of course, we were just talking, like you said, talking off air. I made the comment. Maybe we're going to have to rethink this whole home advantage thing because it's like week after week you have an unranked team or a great game that you think a big advantage because they're at home and they come in, somebody comes in and knocks them off. We've seen that several times now. So yeah, I mean, Vandy being at home is a big plus, but I look for LSU to start to really get things going coming into the end of the season here. They got a couple of really big matchups at the very end, so I wouldn't be surprised if Vandy won, but I'm going to take LSU in a close one.
Yeah, they certainly. I don't disagree. They need to start heading, ramp it up. We're getting close to November. It's time to start playing big boy football. Stop playing with your food. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But yeah, what a nice noon kick game. To start the week off or the Saturday off because actually it all started last night. I know we got Georgia Tech going to Duke. I really look for Georgia Tech to hold court there, but Duke's that's another one of those. Even though they're not ranked, it's in Duke. They're at home. You'd think they have a little bit of an edge, but Georgia Tech probably playing some of their best football. the last few years, even though they've been really good. It seems like this year's just a little bit better than they have been, and they got a nice team. Thing with them is they got to stay healthy. If they take a bad injury somewhere, it could really derail their season.
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Georgia Tech, they kind of look the part. So, they seem to keep things rolling, and they're always tough whenever they play one of the top teams. So,
Oh yeah,
I think that they should be fine against Duke.
yeah. I'm sure we're in agreement. We don't expect Ohio State to struggle at Wisconsin, nor should Indiana struggle hosting Michigan State. Arkansas and A&M, A&M should hold court there. I would think. I mean, you never know when these teams struggle, but A&M I think should take care of the Razorbacks. As far as what game day is at, I was watching a little bit of that before I came over here to the computer. Ole Miss to Georgia. That's one of the big ranked on ranks, and it's another one of those at home, Georgia, Kirby, and all that. In Ole Miss, they really got to show everybody that they mean business. Tough game. I kind of go with the home team, but like you said, home teams this year who they've already lost one at home from Alabama. That's Georgia. Alabama's a different animal. So
right.
I guess I feel like I got to go with Georgia just because they're at home. They got Kirby.
Yeah, well, I mean, having Kirby's always a big plus, especially when it comes to the second half. They don't seem to get off to the best start in the world. But go back to that Arkansas Texas A&M game. I tell you, Arkansas has been in every game they've played in.
Yeah.
I mean, so I look for that one to be pretty close. I mean, I'll take A&M on that one also. Ole Miss came. They didn't come in and beat, but they did beat Georgia last year. So we have that. I'm sure Georgia wants to bounce back from that loss, and they're at home.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a big feather in the cap of Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss if they could go into Georgia and knock them off.
It'd be huge.
Yeah, I'd look for a close game. Probably Georgia pulling it off because of Kirby Smart and those adjustments that he's able to make and turn that team around in the second half. I'll take them in a close game.
Yeah, if it starts the way things have happened this year, Georgia starts a little slow, and if Lane Kiffin's able to put points on the board quick and early, it's kind of like what happened last night. You blinked, and Louisville's up 14-0, a couple picks, and this, that, and the other. So you never know, but second half adjustments. I mean, regardless how the first half goes, the second half will tell the tale of that game because of if Kirby's down, he makes adjustments to get him back, and if they're not down, then they're probably controlling the game. So I think we're both going to go with Georgia on that one, but Ole Miss I think should make somewhat of a game of it at some point. Either early on or we'll see. But like you said, Lane Kiffin, he was somebody I even thought would Penn State even reach out to him to try to come up here and stamp up that offense, and if they don't have a good rest of the second half of the year, maybe he's looking to relocate because he's been known to relocate from time to time, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, well, I mean, since he's come to Ole Miss, he's been pretty solid. But anytime a job comes open, one of the first names you hear is Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's been with like I said, since he's went to Ole Miss, he's been pretty solid there, and like I said, but his name. I can't think of a job that's came open that you didn't hear Lane Kiffin's name.
Sure.
With one of the really big programs whenever a job came open. So
yeah, especially since he went back to what was that, Alabama and then FE. I mean, every time something happened because he was making his way back to head coaching in the big leagues, it was his name, and eventually he took the Ole Miss job. So, which is a good job, make no mistake.
Right. Yep.
I don't know if I mean, one hand you leave the SEC to go to the Big Ten, you just drop the number of competitive teams you play against every year. There's no doubt,
Right.
So I mean, but that's Happy Valley. If you've never been out there, it's not surrounded by a whole lot, so it's out in the middle of nowhere. So this is the third Saturday in October. Does that mean anything to Alabama fans?
No, it's Tennessee Hate Week is what it is.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I just lay it on us, man. You're the Alabama guy. Lay that game on us.
Well, I mean, Tennessee beat them last year. Tennessee's a dangerous team. I mean, they definitely get the ball down the field. That's what they did against Georgia early. Is long touchdowns, 50, 60, 70 yards. That's how they started off with, their first 2 or 3 scores with the, so I mean, they're going to try to get the ball down the field, way down the field. I mean, that's just kind of how they do it and run the ball a little bit. Alabama being at home, hopefully, hopefully the sting from the loss last year, get a little payback, and you're at home, come in and knock off Tennessee. Obviously, that would be the goal. But yeah, I just got to where the last several years I just really don't like Tennessee. That's not because it's Tennessee hate week, but yeah, I don't know if you look at Tennessee, it seems like there's always something going on. Throwing stuff on the field, hitting Lane Kiffin in the head with a golf ball, the guy running to the end zone, flipping off the crowd. It's just been a history with Tennessee of always managing to doing something that's kind of make them look like a bunch of boneheads. Sorry about that. But
All right.
But I look for, hopefully Alabama can take care of business at home. I mean, Tennessee definitely a dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a few weeks ago that they were in Athens and almost pulled off the upset, missed it by a field goal. That was then Georgia, wasn't it? Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was at Tennessee too.
Oh, that was at Tennessee. Oh, you're right. It wasn't at Georgia. So I was thinking there'd be 2 times they played on the road, and had so it's. I think Alabama's really good this year, better than they were last year, by a decent margin. I expect the game to be close. I look at the offense and I'm thinking, wow, this could be up down the field game. Not that the defenses aren't good. It's just, man, it's hard to stop when you're rolling and you spread out and you got guys that can make plays. It's stuff that I think both teams can do that. Both teams got excellent receivers, really good quarterbacks. They got sprinkled in some running games. They're almost mirror image of each other a little bit, not exactly. So I'll take the home team just because they're at home. I would probably take Tennessee if they're at Tennessee, but I think it's Alabama. Alabama's rolling a little bit, but Tennessee is certainly capable.
Yeah, they was. Of course, whenever I say something bad about Tennessee, I stir up a lot of. I got a lot of friends that are Tennessee friends. A lot of them are from Tennessee, and of course, Tennessee friends. So I get them stirred up a little bit whenever I start talking about Tennessee, but because they have blinders on, they didn't see all that crap that I did. So I don't know how that works. I guess it just.
The one thing I don't like about Tennessee, and it really has nothing to do with Alabama, I like because I'm not an SEC guy, is I just don't like Rocky Top. I wish they get a new song, but that'll never happen. That's just me. I can admit it though. But yeah. So yeah, that's a night game on ABC. So that'd be a fun one to watch. And at the same time, if you got able to watch 2 at a time on Peacock and NBC, is USC at Notre Dame.
Right.
And it's the 30-year anniversary of the Bush push, which became the Tush push in the NFL. Matt Leinart backing into the end zone. This could be the last time they play the game for a while. I'm sure it's not the last time forever, but usually they do it every year. So it's kind of an iconic game from the standpoint of it's going to draw a huge crowd. Notre Dame usually does on TV anyways. And I think Notre Dame's a better team, just in general. But, man, weird. It's the year of weird. But not weird enough for me to take USC. I'll take Notre Dame in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be. I'll tell you, USC has been a little bit of a surprise. We actually talked about them last week. Never seemed to be able to get over the hump. But of course, they had a big win last week against Michigan. I mean,
yep.
They really, they didn't just win that game; they dominated that game.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so USC is definitely. I think both teams are probably better than it was a year ago. Definitely for USC. I mean, Notre Dame had a pretty good season last year, but they seem to have things rolling right now. And it's at Notre Dame.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's at Notre Dame, so that'll be that's another great game, man. I tell you, every week it seems like we have 3 or 4 or 5 really great games coming up, so that makes it really interesting. But I really like Notre Dame. hopefully they can really keep things rolling. They seem to get things turned around after a couple of close losses. Really like the coach there, Marcus Freeman. I think he does a great job.
Sure.
So on a Buckeye guy, on top of that, so
and a Wayne guy on top of that.
yeah, local in Ohio State. So
yep.
Yeah, that's be interesting. And we were talking last night. Me and Fletch were talking about this, and I told him, I said, this was before the Miami Louisville thing really got going. This was like in the first quarter. I said, that I was just looking at the thing. They said, Ohio State, Indiana, and Miami, doesn't play a ranked team the rest of the season.
Right.
That's because a couple of teams have fallen off that we didn't expect to fall off. Michigan,
Penn State.
Yeah. And Indiana's obviously, probably a little bit better than, at least than I thought. You've kind of seen that coming for a while, but I was really impressed with them. So, as soon as we say that, and you're going, well, you might want to keep an eye on this Louisville-Miami game. So, that was – so, you never know. These teams are going to have those challenges. They may not play. The whole rank thing sometimes is a little flawed anyways.
yeah.
You see a team ranked ahead of a team that beat them. To me, that's just doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
We have that. So, but I think those teams, and even with Miami, they have the one loss, but they still have a pretty clear path to the playoffs. So,
sure.
It should go well for those teams. But definitely some challenges coming their way. But and then I was looking at the SEC. Being an Alabama fan, they got the gauntlet coming. They have Tennessee and South Carolina and LSU and Auburn and Oklahoma, and so they really got a tough road ahead of them. So we'll kind of see how things play out here. But so these teams can't. The schedules are made way ahead of time. I hear people getting on there and they're going, "Oh, they favored that. They did it." No, they don't. This was done 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
They can't control that. Penn State crapped the bed or Michigan.
Oh yeah.
So it is what it is. You just got to take care of business.
Absolutely. There are a lot of things that people could see and couldn't see coming. Nobody saw Penn State collapsing like that. I'm sure people could have said, they'll probably win the game's supposed to win and they won't beat Ohio State. You and me talk about that a lot. They can't. That's the game they got to win.
Yeah.
Well, now it doesn't matter if they win the game or not. It might look nice, but they've lost too many bad ones already, so nobody saw them getting dumped by Oregon. Okay, that was probably a realistic loss, as far as Oregon, a great team, undefeated, coming in the house, top 5 team. Vanderbilt, Franklin struggles against them. But nobody saw the UCLA loss, and certainly nobody saw Northwestern loss. And we were chatting last week, and Franklin, Penn State just lost, and I text you, Franklin's gone tomorrow, and I thought, maybe Monday, and he was gone the next day. Unfortunate, man, but it's just the world we live in, and more or less the world he lives in. It wasn't just about those 3 losses; it was about the last 14 years and those 3 losses. It was all combined. Just one of those things. But yeah, we talked about teams, Nebraska being beating Cincinnati, but being ranked underneath them. Well, then they go back last night and get killed by Minnesota. So maybe there's a little justification in some of that. I don't know.
Well, there is in some cases, but in some cases, if you both have 2 losses and I beat you, well, should be ranked ahead.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in some cases, hey, the big upset,
right.
And then we've even seen a miraculous play, a Hail Mary, something crazy, and they won the game.
Yep.
But yet you could. And there's times that I've looked at those games, and sometimes you can even look at the stats, even those stats don't tell you everything, and you go, man, they really should have won that game. They got knocked off. I think they're a better team than Nebraska is, or whoever the matchup is. You could definitely look at it and go, and
right.
You can kind of see that. I can see that team being ranked ahead of that one, but there's also the case of where they're pretty even. the matchups are pretty even, and one team beat the other, and they're ranked ahead of them. So I don't always understand what they're doing, but also keep in mind none of this really matters until they get ready to name the top 12 teams.
Yeah, the AP rankings are what they are. There's a lot of coach of voting or not coach voting, the writer voting and stuff. So you take those with a grain of salt. And like you said, this all works itself out until you get into November. The whole trying to figure it out now is ridiculous because it's never going to be figurable. You play the games in front of you. You win the games you should win, and you hopefully win the games that they don't think you will. Blah blah blah. Indiana's definitely a really good team. It's hard to imagine them not being a team in the end. But there's a lot of football left, and like Penn State showed us, you're only 3 weeks away from having the worst season of your life. So you got to take care of business. And if teams that are pretenders usually get exposed at some point in the season, I'm not going to go out and say who were pretenders or not. I wouldn't say Penn State was a pretender, but I told you in the beginning of the season, I wasn't sold on Drew Aller yet. He needs to show me that he can do it. And the team just, their defense is supposed to be really vaunted. Boy, when I saw them playing against Northwestern, I was like, man, they are not very big on defense. No wonder they get pushed around. So it is what it is. Penn State's going to, be the biggest story in the offseason. I'm sure they won't hire somebody until then. So we'll just see how that goes down. But as far as I think I got one more game I certainly wanted to highlight, the Holy War, Utah and BYU.
Yeah.
It's costing $300-something to get a ticket to that game because everything costs more out in Utah. Make no mistakes.
Well, yeah.
So BYU being undefeated and Utah, I think might have just one loss. I'm not sure, but I know BYU is undefeated and it's at BYU. When I was a kid, I used to watch the BYU Utah game, Ty Detmer and all those,
right.
Steve Young. I mean, I was into it. I loved late night football back in the day. So I'm going to go with BYU on this. I think usually BYU has a loss, but it's probably not until November. That's how it goes usually. So I'll play the odds there and give them the win against Utah.
Yeah, I actually watched a lot of BYU last week. They had a really close game with what the heck? I watched it last Saturday night. They ended up winning. I think in overtime.
Was it Colorado? No,
it wasn't Colorado. They won it in overtime.
Arizona.
Arizona. Right. That's who it was. And they won it in overtime. But I watched BYU and I'm like, wow, they seem pretty one-dimensional. It's like they hike the ball to the quarterback, and the quarterback runs with it, or he throws a short pass, but he runs with it a lot.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know how.
Is that sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, somebody won't be able to stop that. So I'm gonna say it's Utah that can stop that. They seem a little bit more. I don't want
balanced.
To say, a little more balanced. There you go. But BYU, like I said, I mean, if that's their game plan every week, eventually that's going to bite them in the butt. But
there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
So that's another. It should be a pretty good game.
Yep. We were talking a little bit about Cincinnati and Nebraska. Cincinnati travels all the way out. They're playing late to Oregon State, I believe it is. And to play, I just saw it here a little bit. Where's the UC logo at? Dun, 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 dun. It wasn't last night, was it? No. I just saw it here a little bit ago. Now the UC Bearcat logo is escaping my vision. Oh, there it is. They play at 8 o'clock tonight, our time, at Oklahoma State. I'm sorry, not Oregon State. So it's not that much of a travel. And actually, that changes everything. I mean, I was going to say Oregon State's playing decent football. Oklahoma State that I can see has it. So I don't see UC having trouble with that, but you never know. I mean,
UC they've been a nice surprise. They really have. They surprised me on a couple of their games that they knocked off. They've been, they caught. Who was it a couple weeks ago?
Kansas.
No, it wasn't Kansas. It was
the one at home.
Yeah,
where they stormed the field.
Yeah.
It was the Big 12 game, wasn't it?
It was.
Let me click on their team because I know they did beat Kansas.
It was Utah. Was it Utah?
Iowa State.
Iowa State. There you go. Yeah, that one surprised me a little bit. Iowa State's kind of limping right now, so I mean they're kind of in trouble. But yeah, uh, nice story in the University of Cincinnati. They're having a really nice season.
Yeah, they're. I'm happy for him being an Ohio guy, but also I like Satterfield. He's an App State guy. He was there when App State was making some huge upsets. Didn't do that well in Louisville, and now he's in UC. And it wasn't looking too good the last couple of years, but I think things are finally starting to go their way. And like I said, happy for him because I'd like to see him do well and do well there. Get UC getting in the Big 12 and making some waves. And they got BYU on their schedule. They've got Utah on their schedule
Yes.
later on. So and Texas Tech, I watched Texas Tech's highlights, and it's just hard for me to put a thumb. They look great. They look fast everywhere. Their quarterback went down. The backup came in, a little more of a runner, but yet he threw some balls. He looks like a Will Howard Duger guy, that guy from TCU. So I don't know what to think of Texas Tech. I need to see more tape on them and see them play better teams. But what I've seen looks pretty scary. They're definitely fast, but we'll never know. We'll have to. Well, the jury in my book is still a little bit out on Texas Tech, but considering the Big 12, they'll probably be in the conversation in the end just because of the record they got.
Yeah, the Big 12's changed a little bit from what we've seen over the last several years. It's always been a lot of offense, really fast, not a whole lot of defense. So I mean, it has changed since the realignment and teams that have came in and went out and all that
Oh, yeah.
kind of stuff. It's changed a little bit, but I mean, Texas Tech still seems to play that part of what we've seen in the Big 12 in the past. Really fast offensive team, going to score a lot of points. So yeah, I mean that's another team that's really that so far that has really looked good.
Yeah, I mean they look dangerous in a shootout. There's no doubt. So
Yeah, they do.
that is kind of old Big 12. Maybe from like a decade ago. Typical Big 12 kind of offense and defense, or lack thereof. So we'll see about that. So yeah. So I think that's covered all the games. You had any other games you wanted to talk about? I think we hit the big ones for sure.
Yeah.
Clemson's at home and SMU. But neither one. Boy, SMU, went from undefeated regular season last year to they're not even ranked. So they definitely. I have to check out what's going on with them during this week and find out. Mississippi State and Florida, no rankings there. Pretty weird. Just the year weird, man. I'm telling you.
Well, another team we didn't talk about. Florida State. Another team got off a big win against Alabama. Really pushed Alabama around. You're thinking everybody's. Even I was thinking, boy, man, Florida State looks great. But
Right.
I think it ended up maybe that Alabama really just looked that bad in the very beginning.
And Florida State lost last week, right?
Yeah, they lost. Yeah,
to Miami, right? Miami. Is that when Miami's destroyed them?
no, they lost
2 weeks ago.
They lost to Miami the week before or last
Oh,
week.
okay.
They lost to. Who did they lose to?
Was
Anyway,
it ACC team?
Yeah, I think they've lost. They got 3 losses now.
I don't see them on the schedule. Let me go to the ACC and find out what's going on with them. Cool thing is they're the ACC. They're the top conference, second top conference. That is Florida State.
Was it Pitt?
You're right. It was Pitt. 34-31.
Yep.
Dude, that's your third in a look. They started out 3 wins and they have 3 losses. Virginia, Miami, they're reeling all right. Well, at least they got Stanford next week. No, it's today. Oh, it is. Oh, they do play. They play at Stanford, but still, it's Stanford. But it's
Right.
so they travel all the way across the country. Yeah, no wonder they're talking about Norvell's name for Penn State. 3 threes. I guess 3 straight losses will do you in.
Yeah, three straight losses will do you in when we're projected and everybody expected you to be in the top 5.
Right.
You lose 3 games and then you lose 3 in a row.
Two really bad teams. Yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah,
2 in
at
a row
least-
to bad teams.
Yeah, 2 really bad. Yeah, exactly. So that's
And they had a lead late against Oregon, and then they cough up overtime, and then lose it overtime.
Well,
What a change!
Yeah, that just turned everything at Penn State. It just went from from that what a great game, and you thought pretty high of Oregon at that point and everything, possibly a 1 or a 2 in the rankings, and then of course Indiana then comes and knocks off Oregon at Oregon.
Yeah,
And, So like you said, the year of weird is probably the best way to sum this thing up.
Right. Super crazy, but it's going to be another enjoyable Saturday afternoon and evening, and I'm sure something in that's what we just all talked about is going to go a different way than we think, and we'll be yakking about that. And maybe we can try to get a. I know we talked a little bit about getting a recap game show in like Sunday night, and then my daughter fell out of a tree. We had to go to the emergency room. Blah blah blah. So hope let's see if we can potentially try to do that tomorrow night. That'd be good to clean all this up as we head into the week. So
Yeah, it's like you said, we never know what to expect. We end up going back and forth and texting each other. So sometimes at 11, 12 o'clock at night, we're what the heck is going on here?
oh yeah,
So it's always exciting. You never know what to expect, and yeah, I mean that's kind of what makes college football so great. But
oh yeah.
and we've always had that year after year. But it seems like that this year is just even a little more well. The year of weird.
It's the NIL, the 12 team things are spread out. You can't be as deep as you used to be, which is a lot of the things that we thought were going to be nice for the sport. That hopefully the NIL doesn't blow it too much up. But if it was still 4 teams, I think we'd be condensed because everybody's going to want to be on the better teams. But now we got a lot more teams in the mix, and when they go to 16, which I'm sure they will, I think it's going to get really interesting. I think it'll be fun. I just don't know how they're going to do the regular season with a 16-game playoff. It's like you don't have enough time, and you can't be adding a ton more. They're going to be playing football until February almost, So I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's a good year, Rabbit.
yeah. And one thing, talking about the NIL and everything, I'll kind of wrap it up with this and my opinion on that. I mean, the NIL has helped college football in some ways. I believe it's also hurt college football in a lot of ways. But you look at teams, and it doesn't take much of an edge, to either have it or not have it. You look at guys that are excelling and working hard, and then I'm going to use Ryan Williams from Alabama as an example. Here's a kid that was 17 years old last year. He's going to be one of the greatest. So now he's 18. They give him $4 or $5 million, and he's not performing. He's not blocking. He's dropping the ball. And I think in some cases for this NIL thing for these younger guys, I think it's too much too quick.
I agree.
And if they don't have that, I'm this or I'm that, or maybe people's in their head or whatever it may be. But when you lose that edge, everybody else is going to come equal to you or past you. And that's one of the problems with the NIL that I have with these really young guys that, that I don't know that they know how to handle that all of a sudden, blue collar family or whatever,
Sure.
coming in, a great athlete, and all of a sudden, bam, he's got, a few $1,000,000. And, like I said, the edge on that is makes a big difference one way or the other. So, if that can really has an effect. It's had an effect on Alabama. Now they've quit using him like they did before. I read a thing the other day that's they're using him a decoy now. He's fast. Send him down the field. He's going to take 1 or 2 guys with him. Don't throw it to him because he'll probably drop it, and he ain't going to block for the guy that does catch it. But yeah, I've had some aggravation with that guy, but I had to throw that out there because I know it's not just him. I know that can be the case with a lot of guys with the way this NIL thing is playing out.
There's no doubt, and you and I could probably both sit there and attest. If we were 20 years old and we had $4.5 million just dropped on our lap for playing the sport, we'd be probably talking about us in a negative way too.
Well, I mean, like I said, it doesn't take much to lose your edge. I'm saying, hey man, I can do this for my family. I can go get me a new car. I can do this. Yeah, I got practice later, but
right.
I'll deal with that later. So I mean, I can see how it happens, but that's where a guy really needs to refocus because you're not going anywhere with the talent that's out there if you don't keep that edge and work ethic all the way through.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's I think it was at Rocky 3. He's taking pictures, and Mr. T
Yeah.
is lifting logs or whatever. I mean,
Right.
just stuff
Yeah.
like that. So no, but you're very right. It's there's an adjustment, and some people unfortunately be really bad at it. And other ones have a decent head on their shoulders and maybe have good coaching staff, good parents, and they're like, okay, yeah, you got this money, but that's going to the bank. You're playing football. You got to keep that. Keep what's real, main thing, the main thing, and all that. And it is unfortunate, it's a life lesson, but it's a little bit unfair to some, just to be thrust into, and
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
just hope
Absolutely.
it'd be nice if the NCAA or at least the colleges, maybe not the NCAA, but the colleges all have something in place where they help these kids learn how to be freshmen with a bunch of money, and how quickly it can disappear, and your goal of being a great NFL player. And even if you're not going to be an NFL player, you can still make some good money for 4 years in college and still come out with a degree and think about the rest of your life and all. So yeah, there's a lot of layers to it. So hopefully that stuff happens for those kids because we've seen it before where they make tons of money no matter what they're doing, and 10 years down the road they got nothing.
Well, yeah, and that's maybe that's you go to college to get an education, so maybe that should be one of the first classes that you have once you get NIL money. Okay, it's you have to take this class on how to manage how to manage this or that, or and I know they have what was it? I can remember in high school they had a class that taught you economics or something like that. Teach you all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean that's a lot on a young man. So
it is. All right, man, we're going to wrap it up for this week. You enjoy the games for sure. Real quick, you see the W signs, you see the WGG FE Network, FE Network, Fletcher Entertainment Network. If you want to try some of that, put the FE Network into the discount in the cart, and you'll get 10% off. Let us know what you think. I still got to get you yours so you can try it too. And I got it all here, man. And we got a hat we're going to give away. I think we're going to hook up something for us to be at tickets here in a couple of weeks whenever you feel good enough to do it. And whenever it's not, this weekend, no way because of Fairborn's. By the way, Fairborn got beat by Stebbins last night in football.
Was it Stebbins? I thought they played Xenia last night. They played Stebbins?
Yeah, I saw it on Stebbins came back and won the game against Fairborn. So
what was the score? You know what the score was?
34-31, I think, or something like that.
Oh, wow. Really good game.
Yeah. Something like it. It was a close game. Anyway, I saw it on Facebook. So, anyways, speaking of Facebook, give us a like, and if on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell so you can follow us. Leave us a chat, leave us some message information, tell us who you're going to pick, and we'll enjoy the games, and we will see all of you in next week.